Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Going to give just a few moments to allow for everyone to filter in here. In the meantime, I did want to go over just a few housekeeping items. First of all, if you do experience any issues throughout today's broadcast, please feel free to chat that in, and we will do our best to get that sorted out for you. Additionally, we will be taking some time at the end of the presentation to take some questions from the audience. So if you have any questions throughout the broadcast, please feel free to drop that in the questions section of the platform, and we will do our best to answer them for you at the end of the presentation. All right, we are just about ready to get started here. I'm going to be joined today by Mike Tice and Alex Kahn to discuss SDI's Laboratory Instruments Market Snapshot from the SDI Global Assessment Report of 2023. So without further ado, Mike, go ahead and take it away.
Thanks, Shelby. And I'm also grateful to everyone out there in our audience for giving us some time out of your day to learn about SDI's view of the lab instrumentation market as presented in our flagship report, the 2023 version of SDI's Global Assessment Report. This webinar is what we've called a distillation of data from the report, a few highlights of the information inside. So here are your presenters for today. I'm Mike Tice, Senior Vice President here in charge of the SDI and IVO teams within Science and Medicine Group. Personally, I've contributed to every edition of our global report since 2002, and I also work on custom market research or consulting projects that fall into SDI's area of expertise. Alice?
Okay, I'm Alice Kahn. I'm the Manager of Market Analytics at SDI. So I lead the team of expert analysts who produce the Global Assessment Report every year, as well as many of our other publications. So I've been, this is my 5th year doing the SDI Global Assessment Report.
So I know people are eager to get to the facts and figures, but first I want to set the stage with some information about Science and Medicine Group, which SDI has been a part of since 2014. Depending on the scope of your business, you may interact with other SMG brands and may or may not realize we're all part of one big happy family. In particular, the Global Assessment Report is a product of SMG's publications group that you see here, serving closely related markets. SDI publishes market reports on analytical and life science instrumentation and equipment. Our newsletter, IVO, now in its 32nd year of publication, covers the same space twice a month. Our IMV brand provides reports on the medical imaging markets and other related areas. Colorama Information reports on diagnostics and some life science areas. Bioinformatics reports, their reports address life science markets, often from a marketing or customer journey standpoint, based on large-scale surveys of end users. Stepping back a bit to look at Science and Medicine Group's capabilities more broadly, market research reports is just one slice of what we can offer clients. In addition to the off-the-shelf reports and other published data, we have capabilities to carry out custom confidential market research and advisory or consulting projects. We have our own proprietary community of working scientists who have opted in to assist our research. This gives us great power for delivering customer insights to clients. In addition to quantitative and qualitative surveys that we can field to this audience, we also offer various media properties for addressing relevant customers with advertising. SMG's most recent acquisition at the top there, Amplion, is an exciting development. Amplion uses artificial intelligence, natural language processing for life science lead generation, which can be targeted to fit ideal profiles that you specify. So looking back at SDI, which produces the Global Assessment Report, the company was founded in 1981, so we're now at more than 40 years of providing market research and consulting on the laboratory space. Since the first edition in 1989, we've been expanding and refining the Global Assessment Report into the great resource we have today. Then also throughout the year, we publish more focused studies on particular technologies or specific end markets or other aspects of the business. For this year, we have a report on mass spectrometry, including a significant end user survey for later this year, as well as reports on spatial biology, process instrumentation, and other topics. And as I said before, SDI can also address custom research needs with a wide variety of tools and or as a part of an engagement with the larger SMG team. Okay, the report itself, let me provide some context for what it is, what it covers, and then Alice will take over to present some high-level results and predictions. First off, the report is currently hot and fresh, the new edition published just last week. And again, the Global Assessment Report is SDI's flagship market research report on the lab instrument industry, a really comprehensive resource. It has market sizing, market segmentation, growth estimates, and commentary on the trends and drivers for dozens of laboratory techniques. Published annually, the 2023 edition uses 2022 as the base year and with year-by-year estimates of market size out to 2027. Typical customers are executives or marketing and product managers at instrument companies, or other market watchers and analysts, people looking to invest in the space, and so on. So just a few words about the scope of the report to make sure everyone knows what's included, what's excluded. In brief, when SDI talks about laboratory instruments, we mean something that makes a measurement, a spectrum, a DNA sequence, the level of lead in your drinking water. So over the years, the Global has expanded in scope to include things used alongside instruments, sample preparation devices, laboratory equipment, automation, lab software. So it's become a little broader than just instruments. However, on the excluded side, we do not include process instrumentation, that is, instruments that are embedded in the manufacturing line to provide process monitoring or process control. We do have a separate report on that topic scheduled for later this year, but these products are excluded from the Global Assessment Report. The other main exclusion from the Global Report is diagnostics. Products that are marked for diagnostic use are generally excluded from the report, but our Colorama and IMV brands cover the diagnostics and medicine angle quite well. So by the numbers, the report is more than 1,000 pages long. More than 1,000 suppliers are evaluated in the analysis. There's hundreds of graphs and tables. And in total, it covers 83 specific technologies organized into the 10 major chapters that you see there: chromatography, mass spec, life science, spectroscopy, etc. Each of these 83 technology sections has a very similar presentation of data. These 83 sections are also available separately as what we call market briefs. So if you're a very focused supplier or need info on just one particular laboratory technique, you can get just that relevant part. Each market brief includes market size and forecasts by the product segments, segments and forecasts by region, end market sector, estimated unit shipments for last year, vendor share, the timetable of recent developments like product introductions and acquisitions that have taken place. And all of it comes with written commentary to provide the context and explanations for the presented data and the drivers in the markets. The full report is more than just the 83 market briefs glued together. There's also higher level discussions with the market data rolled up for each of those 10 chapters, and of course for the entire global market. There's some additional information about the overall market, a timeline of acquisitions and business developments, our IBO industry sales indexes based on public company reporting, and a list of the top 50 suppliers with revenue estimates. In addition to the report, we also have an optional quarterly data stream available to those who purchase the report. If an annual report isn't frequent enough information, we've got you covered with this product. It's more of a spreadsheet of major market results across technology, region, and customer type, with some insight on currency effects quarter by quarter through the year. So bottom line, what's the value of the report to you? Well, it's hard to know all your individual situations, but there's many ways to make use of the Global Assessment Report. Ultimately, it's an expert and independent view of these markets, so it can be used to support or challenge your internal views of these markets as you strategize about marketing or product development. Some of you may be startups looking for investment money. The report can provide an independent view of the market to help sway potential investors. The comprehensive nature of the report may help you to identify adjacent areas to your existing business for expansion through product development or acquisition. The competitive information in the report allows you to compare yourself to your competitors or assess complementary acquisitions. Another advantage of the report is that it's backed by a full-service market research firm, as I outlined at the beginning. Many conversations with our clients start with, the report is great, but what we really need is X. So that could be anything from a custom data presentation of something already in the report to consultation on key initiatives or M&A support, or a survey of 500 left-handed scientists using flow cytometry. The whole SMG team has wide capabilities and a solid knowledge base. And the Global Assessment Report is one of the cornerstones of that knowledge base to ensure successful outcomes on custom projects. So now I'll hand the baton over to Alice to look at some of the top-level results from the report.
Okay, thank you very much, Mike. Let's dive into it. Next slide, please. Okay, so the total market for analytical and life science instrumentations reached an estimated $80.8 billion in 2022, and that represents an increase of about 5.8% compared to the previous year. Now, this, of course, is in the context of the big post-pandemic rebound that we saw in 2021, which created some difficult comparisons for several parts of the market. So the extent of growth was very mixed between the various technologies, and with some seeing excellent growth in 2022, while others saw a moderate decline, particularly those that are involved in COVID diagnostics. So this unevenness was seen both in initial systems as well as in the aftermarket's consumables. And of course, the supply chain situation, which caused so many problems in 2021, did improve through 2022. But of course, they do continue to linger. But in general, even though there are still, lingering problems, end user confidence in the reliability of the supply chain has largely recovered. So through 2022, and especially towards the end of 2022, we saw that this, this increased confidence influenced the demand for consumables, since labs were sitting on ample supplies that they had stocked earlier and that they had to use up. So looking forward, there will be some global economic challenges that will slow the market, but we do see that the market will surpass a huge milestone, reaching over $100 billion by the end of the forecast period. Now, in terms of market size and looking at the various chapters within global, the leading techniques are life science instrumentation and chromatography. Both of these techniques have enjoyed expanding market shares that are driven by heavy use in the pharma bio sector, which we'll see is kind of a theme later on. So here, funding has been consistently strong, and particularly in the area of biologics development. Surface science was the growth leader in 2022, and a lot of this was driven by innovative new features geared towards life science research and semiconductor research. So overall, these gains, however, were offset by reduced pandemic demand. For example, sample preparation was highly affected by declining need for nucleic acid preparation that was used in COVID diagnostics. But over the next 5 years, we project that the market will expand at a pace of about 5.1%. And this will largely be led by life science instrumentation and mass spec. So in general, each group will see growth in about the mid-single digit range. Life science instrumentation has maintained really robust growth for many years, and demand has been strengthened by pharma bio research, LDT clinical diagnostics, innovations in basic research, and at least for a little while, a huge surge from COVID-19 pandemic. And this area has also been a very active area for mergers and acquisitions activities, which has greatly consolidated the life science market in recent years. Mass spec has gained increasing demand from protein research, and this technique is also used in tandem with chromatography techniques very frequently. So growth from chromatography will also benefit mass spec. The pharma bio sector, as I mentioned, has consistently been the growth leader for many years and across most regions. So a lot of innovations in analytical technologies are driven directly by the needs of pharma bio research. And these innovations in turn drive more demand for initial systems, creating a substantial installed base of instruments with increasing throughput capabilities, which then in turn creates more demand for consumables. So pharma bio has also historically been more resilient to, compared to other areas during economic downturns. And as we look ahead in our forecast, it looks increasingly likely like that a recession is in store. So while we expect that pharma bio will, be relatively strong through the forecast period, we do see detrimental effects potentially for the industrial sector as well as the public sector. In many regions in 2022, revenues were strongly impacted by negative currency effects, which in some countries were even double-digit effects. And this caused a decline in revenues, especially in Japan, where we saw actual decline, and flat growth in Europe. But this isn't, of course, the full picture. And if we look at things in the organic or currency neutral basis, then the picture is actually much more positive across just about every region. The US and Canada remains the largest regional market, which is a reflection of the infrastructure and established industries in the region. So, and also the strength of the US dollar really cemented this position in 2022. On the other hand, Europe was driven downwards by currency effects, with the euro even falling to parity with the US dollar last summer. Of course, the war in Ukraine has also created difficulties and anxieties in Europe and beyond, while specifically affecting the industrial technologies. Let's see, also, sanctions against Russia have eliminated that market for a lot of vendors as well. In China, the recovery from the pandemic was delayed by the country's zero COVID policy, which was finally lifted in December. Now, it will take some time for the country to regain momentum, but China's commitment to increase support for the public sector as well as pharma bio initiatives will bring growth back up to levels that are more comparable to pre-pandemic. Okay, and then we're also going to expect strong growth from other regions within the APAC area, so India and other Asia Pacific region is expected to see very strong growth. Okay. Now, in a lot of these areas, the aftermath of the pandemic and the supply chain issues that ensued really opened a lot of eyes, and a lot of countries are moving to reduce their exposure to international supply chains for vital products such as drugs, active pharmaceutical ingredients, and electric components or electronics components. So this is already spurring the establishment of more local production facilities as well as associated labs, and has already started to spur demand for analytical instrumentation that's involved in production and quality control functions. Okay, now looking at the competitive landscape, now the analytical instrumentation market is, has a pretty vast competitive landscape with over 1,000 vendors participating worldwide. But much of the revenues generated are concentrated among the leading vendors, with the top 10 accounting for about half of the total market in 2022. So this is a list of the top 10 vendors in the market. Thermo Fisher is on top, and it's by far the largest player. In fact, they are so broad-based that they participate in nearly all of the 83 markets that are in the Global Assessment Report. Over the years, consolidations through mergers and acquisitions has really solidified the positions of many of these vendors, while also broadening the scope of some of these companies. But this list will look quite different next year, since we're now seeing somewhat of a reversal of the consolidation trend. Several companies are spinning off portions of their businesses to separate higher growth life science markets from their more industrial businesses. For example, just a few weeks ago, PerkinElmer completed the divestiture of its applied, food, and enterprise service businesses. And later this year, Danaher will soon spin out its environmental and applied focus businesses. But despite the challenges of the market and dominance of these top players, we still see plenty of opportunities in the analytical and life science instrumentation market. In fact, just in 2022, we saw quite a few new market entrants in our analysis. Okay, this concludes my portion of the presentation. So thank you very much for listening, and we welcome your questions.
Thank you very much, Mike and Alice. Appreciate the insights that you shared with us there. Getting into the questions, there have been a couple that have come through. So I'll start with this one. How much is a recession affecting the market?
Okay, thanks, Shelby. I can jump in on that one. Okay, so of course, talk of the recession has been going on for quite a while. It's been in the news a lot since, throughout last year and all that. So because it's kind of been, on the radar for such a long time, we see that a lot of, end users and labs and what have you have already last year started holding back on spending in anticipation for recession, as well as some of the other factors that we talked about today. So because we already saw a pullback of spending starting last year, and especially towards the last half of the year, I think that this year the effects of the recession are going to be a little bit muted in terms of the effect on growth. And it looks like it's going to be probably a milder recession. So it'll probably affect, depressed demand for the first couple of years, but then later on in our forecast period, we should, be coming out of it and regaining momentum.
The next two are more focused around the report cost and sort of what it comes with. So I'll kind of group them together. The questions are, when buying the report, does it come with analyst time? And then additionally, how much does it cost?
Okay, sure. I can jump in on that. Analyst time, it doesn't literally come with analyst time, but we do back the report fully, so that if you have questions or you need something explained, we're very ready to, get on the phone or answer an email or something like that to help you understand what's in the report and what it means. And if it's something, simple that, the analyst can answer, even if it's not literally in the report, we're usually pretty good about that. Sometimes though, obviously, clients come with very demanding questions or a long list or something that, it's not a 15-minute phone call. It's something more involved. So in that case, it may be more appropriate to, handle it as some kind of, custom project, really, if it's, really going outside the scope of the report. As for costs, so I mentioned at the start that each of those 83 individual sections, the market briefs are available separately. So each one alone is $2,750. And obviously, if you had to buy 80 of them at close to $3,000, we're looking at $250,000 for all of it. Fortunately, it's much more economical if you're buying it in bundles. So you can also get it at the chapter levels. You can get all of the chromatography sections or all of the life science sections. Each of those chapters is $7,500. And then the entire report, so 10 chapters and all the other material that's in the report, the total price is $22,000. I think I also mentioned the optional data streams. That's an additional $10,000 on top of the $22,000 price of the whole report. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Mike, for answering that as well. I'll give you guys a few moments here if you have any last minute questions to go ahead and throw them in. But during that time, I just want to remind you, we will be sending you a follow-up email with the information on how to get a hold of us if you do have any questions, and also where to find more information about the report if you are interested in learning more about it. So be sure to look out for that in the coming day. You will receive that in your inboxes. So it looks like that is the end of the questions here. So again, Mike and Alice, I want to thank you for your time and insights. And of course, thank everyone in the audience for their time today. Of course, please feel free to reach out to us with any questions that you may have, and have a great rest of your day.